Ladies and gentlemen, a warm good morning from the Netherlands. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are delighted to have you today joining this very special event, the opening of PCI-NU Belanda Third Biennial International Conference, the ICAS Pre-Conference, entitled Reimagining Religion in Time of Crisis. I would like to convey my warm welcome to Your Excellency Mr. Maier Vas, the Indonesian Ambassador to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Al-Mukarram Mr. Ulil Absar Abdallah, the Indonesian Muslim scholar, Lurah Pondok Online Ngaji Ihya, Al-Mukarram Mr. Yahya Khalil Stakuf, General Secretary of Nahdlatul Ulama Supreme Council, our partners, Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in The Hague, Nafik Neso Netherlands Alumni Network, International Institute for Asian Studies, Netherlands-Indonesia Consortium for Muslim-Christian Relations, our presenters, my fellow organizers, and for sure, our audiences. My name is Ayu Soningrum, and I have the pleasure of being your Master of Ceremony for today's event. Allow me to remind all of us that this opening session is being recorded. A glimpse of background of Third Biennial International Conference of PCI-NU Belanda. Imagination is a necessary ingredient in perceiving our sense of the future. Imagination may help us to accept the world as it is and consider what God might mean by this. Amidst crisis, the role of imagination and its uses in our common life, particularly religion, needs our continuing attention. Therefore, this Third Biennial International Conference of PCI-NU Belanda is organized by PCI-NU Belanda in collaboration with the International Conference of Asia Scholars to bring together scholars, researchers, and activists to discuss relevant ideas concerning the topic and subtopics of the conference, to answer the questions of how religion could offer a unique window to understand how to manage a crisis. Now, our programs for today are, first, the opening remarks from the coordinator event, from the chairman of PCI-NU Belanda, and from the Indonesian ambassador. Second, keynote speech, Reimagining Religion in Time of Crisis, by Mr. Ulil Absar Abdallah. Third, meet and greet. Fourth, first panel presentations consists of 3 panels. Then afterwards, we have 15-minute break, continued by fifth, second panel presentations that consists of 3 panels. Last but not least, 6, closing remarks, contextualizing crisis and global Islam moderate movements by Mr. Yahya Khalil Stakuf. Without further ado, I will invite Mr. Adrian Perkasa as the coordinator of the Third Biennial International Conference for the first opening remark.
Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning for all of you who are in the same time zone as me in Europe. And good afternoon for all of you who are in Indonesia. Greetings. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the opening ceremony of the Third International Conference of PCI-NU Belanda. I would like to thank each one of you joining this event, and I bid a very warm welcome to all the honorable guests, speakers, and participants. Your Excellency Bapak Maier Vas, the Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to the Netherlands, Al-Mukarram Kiai Haji Yahya Khalil Stakuf, and Al-Mukarram Gus Ulil Absar Abdallah, and also the members of the Committee of Netherlands-Indonesia Consortium for Muslim-Christian Relations, NICMCR, the representative from Nuffic Neso, all the members of NL Alumni Network Indonesia. And last but not least, one must welcome to the representatives from the special branches of NU, PCI-NU all over the world. Here I see that some of our friends from Japan and Hungary and some other countries are attended to this event. We are honored to have you all with us. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference actually has been organized by PCI-NU Belanda biannually for over 4 years and has chronicled huge success. And for this year, we try our best to upgrade our event despite many difficulties. And finally, we are delighted to collaborate with the International Convention of ASEAN Scholars, ICAS, of the International Institute for ASEAN Studies, University Leiden, one of the most prestigious events in the academic world. The central theme of this year is reimagining religion in a time of crisis. Yeah, we realize that we are still facing the COVID-19 crisis. But we will discuss the crisis beyond that pandemic issue. There will be 6 panels investigating extensive topics, from ecological crisis to the social and cultural turmoil. More than 30 presenters will exchange their ideas at this conference. They come from many different backgrounds, disciplines, and nationalities. Finally, I would also like to offer my regards to all the people and institutions who made this conference possible in such difficult times. First of all, for the organizer teams, thanks to our teams, Mbak Yus, Mas Afnan, Mas Dawam, Mas Dito, Mas Karim, and all the teams that I cannot mention one by one. You are the best. And for all the support from the institution, including the Indonesian Embassy at The Hague, Netherlands Indonesia Consortium for Muslim Christian Relations, and ICMCR, International Institute for Asian Studies, University Leiden, and also all of media partners, especially in Indonesia. When actually this event broadcasted by TV9, and many media partners in social media such as Alif.id, NU Online, and many of them. And lastly, special thanks to our co-organizer, Nufik Neso and NL Alumni Network Indonesia, which provide our platform for our meeting today. So, I will end my speech here with a sincere hope that you will enjoy today and the several days of debate, discussion, and of course, networking. Wallahul muwafiq ila aqwamit thoriq, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Back to you, Ayu.
Thank you, Mr. Adrian Prakasa. And now for the second opening remark, I would like to invite the chairman of PCI-NU Belanda, Mr. Afnan Ansor.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished guests and scholars, the Indonesian ambassador to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, the Excellency Mr. Mayurvas, Kiai Haji Yahya Khalil Stakuf from PBNU, Kiai Haji Ulil Absar Abdallah from Unisia, Jakarta, Kiai Haji Nur Hashim Subadi, Rais Syuriah PCI-NU Belanda, and all speakers and participants, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, khatamil anbiya wal mursalin, sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure and honor to welcome you all today to this PCI-NU Belanda Third Annual International Conference, which brings together scholars from different expertise Ahlan wa sahlan bi hudurikum. The theme of this conference is Reimagining Religion in Time of Crisis. While the theme seems actual, this conference is special even because it wants to achieve various conceptual and practical things based on presenters' research. A glance observation at the list of presentation. I think it's special because of the issues and event. The issues are crucial because currently we are facing various crises, more particularly COVID-19 pandemic crisis. The main aim of today's presentation or pre-conference is that the panels and themes can be enjoyed by larger audience, both in Indonesia and abroad. From this conference, the participants will listen, learn, and implement how to deal with various crises. I believe this conference will provide thoughtful and useful contribution to both academic and non-academic aspects. The event is special because, as Mas Adrian said just now, PCINO Belanda, as the organizer, collaborates with a prestigious international event held by IIAS, or International Institute for Asian Studies of Leiden University, namely ICAS, or International Convention of Asian Studies Forum. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, why do PCINO Belanda want to discuss these themes? This is because religion, as one of the most important part of our lives, should be able to take part in responding to this crisis and how our scholars are able to contribute to responding to them. As part of religious communities, we think that we have the task to solve these problems. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before I end my speech, again, I would like to express my gratitude from the bottom of my heart for your time, insights, and contribution. I hope you will enjoy this event and contribute to it by exchanging ideas, thoughts, and so forth. From the stage, I would like to inform you that this event is also supported by KBRI Den Haag, Netherlands Alumni Network, NVIC-NESO, Netherlands Indonesian Consortium for Muslim-Christian Relations, and many other parties I cannot mention one by one, with all due respect. On behalf of PCINO Belanda's board member, I would like to express our thankfulness to all of them. I also would like to thank all speakers and participants, especially Kiai Haji Yahya Khalil Stakuf and Gus Ulil Absar Abdallah, for their time and willingness to contribute and participate in this pre-conference. And last but not least, I would like to thank all committee members of this pre-conference and conference for their hard work and in preparing it, especially Mas Adrian, Mbak Yus, Mas Dawa, Mas Dito, Mas Karim, and all committee members and Lakpusdam PCINO Belanda members that I cannot mention one by one. I understand that it was not easy to organize such big event in this pandemic situation. Still, we hold this regular conference this year because we don't want to miss the biennial momentum. Here we want to preserve the legacy and spirit of PCINO Belanda's founders and initiators. We hope this online platform can be completed next year by offline or on-site conference in the Netherlands. Of course, when a pandemic situation can be controlled and it is possible for the presenters and participants to travel to the Netherlands safely. We hope to see you again next year physically. Thank you and have happy and fruitful discussion. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad Ansari. For the third opening remark, and also to formally open this event, I would like to invite the Indonesian Ambassador to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Your Excellency, Mr. Mayorkas.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi dari Belanda. Good morning, guten Morgen, Bapak Ibu pengurus PCINU Belanda. Bapak Ulil Abdallah, rekan-rekan semua, distinguished participant, speaker, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to congratulate PCI and you, Netherlands, for your initiative in organizing the conference. As a special branch of the largest mass Islamic organization in Indonesia, I'm happy that PCI and you in the Netherlands continuously promote Islam and moderate Islam, the main characteristic of Islamic life in Indonesia. As we all know, we are all the largest democratic Islamic countries in the world. Now with this conference, you have tried to disseminate Islam rahmatan lil alamin, not only in the Netherlands, but also in the world. Your collaboration with the International Convention of ASEAN Scholars, ICAS, and Leiden University prove that in your interpretation and understanding of Islam has been acknowledged by international scholars. I think most of the participants also distinguished several scholars in Islamic studies. You have contributed to promote moderate Islam, which has been adopted by all of us, Indonesian government, as a national policy. The theme of this conference, the reimagining a religion in the time of crisis, I think it is a timely and very relevant to our current situation. This not only because we are now in the crisis, the health crisis with pandemic, COVID-19, but also during the history of human being, we have experienced a lot, and maybe still will face some crisis, political crisis, economic crisis, social crisis. There are many crises that we have experienced, and many we will face later. To take best example right now is the pandemic COVID-19 that we have suffered since last year. This pandemic has become the game changer, what people say, because it's changed all aspects of human life: economic, health, culture, social life, academics, and even religious life. And the question now is how religion can contribute to give solutions to this crisis. Of course, we are happy to mention here that mass or Muslim organization in Indonesia, such as Muhammadiyah, Nahdlatul Ulama, have done a lot in helping our community, government in coping with the pandemic. These Muslim organizations have support and contribute the government, community, our people, and in educating the people about COVID-19, collecting funds and caring the patient and vaccination. However, we do not forget that there are some people who still have a problem in their effort in dealing with the crisis. Some people even not believe in the danger of COVID-19, and they are on some extent against vaccination, for example, for their reason, including the reason because of religious reason. So here we see clearly how religion can be used in different purposes. Supporting the government, play an important role in our society, and how to deal with the COVID-19. Again, as a Muslim man and religious man, I do hope that the religious group can contribute in providing solution, not in creating the problem. The pandemic-19 is an example only. I believe there are many challenges that we face now. The emergence, for example, lately the emergence of Taliban in Afghanistan recently, some days ago, has, for example, has raised the concern of human rights, especially in woman rights and gender equality. The issue of gender equality has been discussed by Muslim scholars and activists. In spite of the support of Muslim intellectuals and activists for gender equality, we also do not forget that some Muslims still hold, I can say, traditional interpretation of Islam that discourage, to some extent, gender equality. And then I understand that this conference will discuss religion in relation with the diverse themes such as ecology, women's rights, democracy, politics, law, and others. I do hope that this conference will be fruitful. So enjoy the conference. Selamat melaksanakan konferensi ini. Mudah-mudahan konferensi ini akan memberikan hal yang terbaik bagi kita semua. Tidak hanya untuk masyarakat NU di Nederland dan seluruh dunia, tapi untuk kita semua. So, enjoy the conference, stay safe, keep healthy. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Mayafas. Before proceed to the next program, I would like to share information for you. You may have the chance to win the door prize and supporting this conference by posting about this event in your Instagram story with hashtag @NLAlumniID and @NU Belanda. Now, we are going to listen to the keynote speech, Reimagining Religion in the Time of Crisis by Al-Mukarram Mr. Ulil Absar Adam.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in, amma ba'du. Thank you very much for inviting me to this prestigious meeting and conference. Ladies and gentlemen, my friends, Mr. Ambassador of Indonesian Embassy in Netherlands. First of all, I would like to appreciate the initiative by our friend of Nahdlatul Ulama in Netherlands and other part of Europe to organize this symposium to address one of the important issues today, which is how we live as a Muslim in time of crisis such that we face these days. What it means to be a Muslim and what it means to be a believing person in time of crisis. And I think this is a very important topic, and I congratulate and compliment the organizers' judicious and smart choice of this topic. This is very, 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 very timely. Secondly, thanks for including me in this conference and in inviting me to be a speaker in this panel. The theme that we are going to discuss for the coming days is about reimagining religion or Islam, particularly in time of crisis. Crisis is, I think, the key word in this context. And I think as a Muslim, we've been living through many crises in the modern era. I want to focus my talks today about what kind of crisis that we are living today. I think if we think deeply in the idea of crisis, the crisis that we are facing today is not the crisis of COVID only. Of course, COVID has been posing to us a lot of challenges. It changed how we live today. But I think we have a more serious crisis as a Muslim. And one of the most challenging crisis that we are facing today as a Muslim is in the break of the history. By history here, I mean the history of Islamic civilization. For almost 13 centuries, I guess, Muslims live in, let's say, more or less homogeneous kind of history. And that is we might call that history the history of Islamic civilizations, stretching back to the time of the Prophet, the time of the Companion, and also going back to the history of the Abbasid and so forth, until the dawn of the modern history. Starting from the time of the Prophet until the modern history, we may say that Muslim Ummah has been living in a continuous history. This continuous history might be characterized by many things. One of the most important characteristics of this continuous history is the prominence Sharia as the governing legal body in the Muslim life. Sharia, play a very important role in governing how Muslim life. For 13 centuries, Muslims live in particular way of living. And that life is characterized by certain rules, certain moral values, certain moral or legal rule. We call it Sharia. Sharia is the most important component in this continuous history that stretched back from to the history of the Prophet until the advent of the modern history. We might mark the beginning of the modern history from let's say from 19th century. 19th century is the beginning of the modern history for Muslim land, for Muslim people in general. Yeah. So from the first century, from the first century of Hijrah in Medina until the coming of European colonial power to Muslim land, Muslim live relatively in homogeneous and continuous history. Of course, there are heterogeneity, differences, and diversity within this continuous history. But I would assume that this single history, this continuous history, we might see it as one entity in which Muslims live in a more, holistic and a complete history. Muslims have its own moral and philosophical tradition. scientific tradition, political tradition, legal tradition, cultural tradition, you name it. We have a continuous history. And this continuous history has been break up by the coming of the European colonial power to the Muslim land. I think one of the most important events in the history of Muslim in the modern era was when Napoleon Bonaparte came to Egypt in 1789, I guess. That's the year of Napoleon Bonaparte and its entourage, landing in Egyptian land. That was the beginning of the Muslim history. The coming of Napoleon Bonaparte in Egypt has brought many significant, let's say, civilizational change in the Muslim land, starting from legal code, hukum, legal code. Napoleon Bonaparte came to Egypt deliberately to bring not only, both material culture. Let's say Napoleon Bonaparte, when he landed in Egypt, he landed with a vision. And that vision is to bring civilization in its totality to Egypt as a symbol of the Muslim civilization. That's, I think, the beginning of the crisis of the Muslim civilization, the coming of Napoleon Bonaparte to Egypt in 1789. That's the beginning of the crisis. Why crisis? Why crisis? Because the coming of the European people, European power to the Muslim land has brought many new things, new ideas. One of the important new idea was the idea of state. The idea of new state. In the previous continuous history we call Islamic history or Islamic civilization, the single political structure that was dominant in the Muslim land was let's say, the political system of caliphate. Despite its diversity in its manifestation, we might call this system as the state of the caliphal state, system kekhalifahan. That was the single political system that was dominant in the Muslim land, be it in Middle East, in North Africa, including in Nusantara. Even though the manifestation of the caliphal system in Nusantara was different, but I think in its structure and its essence, it is similar to the political tradition that we see in the Middle Eastern countries at the time. That was the system, the political system and structure predominating in the Muslim countries before the coming of the European people or European power. The coming of European power broke up this continuous history by introducing the new political structure. And I think that's the beginning of the crisis. The introduction of the nation state was something very strange for many Muslims. I can imagine the feeling of strangeness toward this new political structure coming from Europe by comparing it to the similar situation that Sahaba, the companion of the Prophet, encounter when the system of dynasty was introduced by the Umayyad Caliphate at the time. You know what happened? When Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan died, and then he left a will, wasiyat, to install his son Yazid bin Muawiyah as his successor, what was the reaction of the Sahaba at that time? The reaction of the Sahaba was a kind of surprise. what is this new thing that Muawiyah brought to us? Because Arab people never knew about the system of dynasty, meaning the, hereditary political system, where, the father died, when the father died, the father king died, then his son will succeed him. That wasn't a tradition common among the Arab, because leadership among Arab people was elected relatively democratically. Never happened in Arab history before Muawiyah adopting this dynastic system. Did the Arab people know about the system? So the reaction of the Sahaba was, what is this? What is this? Ma hadha al-amr. What is this? This is something new, something we never knew about it. That son inheriting power from his father. That's never happened, because in the Arab tribal system, the leader of tribal was elected from among most eligible people in the tribe. It wasn't inherited, That's the system in the Arab. When Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan brought this new thing, the dynastic system, actually he borrowed the system from the Persian tradition, actually. So the Sahaba, the companion of the Prophet was surprised. What is this new thing? Exactly that feeling, we have it when European power bring the idea of nation state to the people, to the Muslim people. What is this new thing? Because we never knew it. Why the political identity or citizenry is defined by affiliation with the land. If I'm born in Indonesia, then I am citizen of Indonesia. That's the new idea. Because in the Muslim political history, that was not the idea that the Muslim know it. Before that, everybody can be the citizen of Islamic caliphal system as long as you are Muslim. So the citizenry was defined by the affiliation or by belonging to a certain faith system, not defined by your birth and your land, by your identification with certain land. That's the idea of nation state. When Muslim encounter this tradition from Europe for the first time, they were surprised. That's why the natural reaction of the Muslim to this new idea of nationalism was resistance. And I think the debate about nationalism occurred in Indonesia in early 20s, I guess, between Sukarno and Ahmad Hassan. I think you remember that history, the debate between Ahmad Hassan, the founder of Persis, Persatuan Islam from Bandung, and Sukarno. And this debate was recorded in a magazine, a journal at the time. I forget the name. Yeah. So that was the debate, the reaction. Because nationalism Wataniya was, for the first time, initially it was strange, it's an idea. But then Muslim adapted to this new situation, and then they tried to adopt this nationalism, and then they can accept it because this new idea was helpful in countering and fighting colonialism. And now we have no problem at all with nationalism. Now the second crisis. This is the first crisis. The first crisis. The second crisis was the idea of modern law. And this is the second crisis that we should think about it seriously. A legal system that was dominant among Muslims for many centuries was Sharia. That's clear, that's obvious for many students. I mean, if you study the history of the legal system in Islamic history, of course, Sharia was the only single legal system that ruled Muslim life. And this is normal. even though what is called Sharia in the history, not exactly the Sharia that some Islamists today think about. And this is a very important point. So the Sharia as was practiced in the history was not the same Sharia that some Muslim who promote the idea of Sharia today think about. It's different. Sharia in history is different from Sharia in the mind of Taliban, of Ikhwanul Muslimin and so forth. But still, Sharia was a legal system that ruled Muslim life for many centuries. And then since the coming of the European system in the Muslim land, symbolized, epitomized by the coming of Napoleon Bonaparte in Egypt, things changed dramatically. I mean, changed completely, because the Islamic legal tradition was broken up. Its continuous history was stopped, was put to halt, and then replaced by a new legal tradition based on the European legal code, particularly legal code from France. Since Napoleon Bonaparte landed in Egypt, Egypt adopted a new legal system from France, and that was called the Napoleon Code. Yeah, the Napoleon Code. Yeah. And this legal system, of course, triggered provoked some reaction among Muslims, because this is like the loss and the victory of the European system over the Islamic system. And this is something that many Muslims feel bitterly. Why should we as a Muslim live under the European legal system? And this crisis, I guess, create a lot of problem until today. Why, for example, why we see many Islamic movements in different Muslim countries trying to reintroduce Sharia, including in Indonesia. I think the idea behind it was that this is exactly like what the Sahaba feel about Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan introducing a new system of dynasty. This is something strange. We don't know it for many centuries. And this is the second crisis. So this is why we have a lot of problem among the Muslim, including political problem, political instability in many Muslim countries, stemming or a problem that come from this situation, the situation where Muslims feel very disappointed and even resenting. They are upset because they are ruled by a foreign legal system. And the third, I think this is something I want to discuss lastly, the crisis of religious authority. And this is something I think we should discuss it seriously. The crisis of religious authority. We live in a digital era, as you know, and this digital era is marked and characterized by many things. And one is, the availability of information and an open access for all people to all kind of information. And this openness in the access to information, of course, result in many good things. We benefit a lot from this digital maslahah. Let's say this is the digital maslahah, the maslahah that come from the digital technology. A lot of maslahah, a lot of good things coming from this new technology. But there are also an access to it. one of the access to it is the crisis of the religious authority. And I think this is one way to understand why Muslims now suffer from confusion in understanding their religion. Especially in situation where there is no a single clerical structure. You know, Islam is different from Catholicism, for example. In Catholicism, you have a more homogeneous religious authority symbolized by Vatican as an institution, a single institution that rule over the Catholic life worldwide. So this a single authority in religion in Catholicism ensure that all Catholic will be adhering to certain line of doctrine prescribed by Vatican. There is a homogeneity and certainty, and certainty and security. While in Islam, the situation is different. You don't have this Vatican type religious authority. In Islam, religious authority is more diversified. It's more decentralized, not centralized. Of course, this decentralization, in one hand, is good because we don't have a single orthodoxy that dominate the Muslim life globally. We have diversity. We have pluralism within Islam. But in other hand, this lack of single religious authority created also a problem, and this problem is worsened today by the advent of the digital technology. This digital technology worsened the situation because in digital era, you have an open access to all information, including information on Islam. And the question that we are facing today is, who is authorized to speak about Islam? Who has an authority to speak about Islam and on behalf of Muslims? And this is the big question. Who represent Muslim today? Al-Azhar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Indonesia, or other countries? Many countries are fighting for this authority, of course. But still the question is, who authorized? Who has a more authoritative voice in this digital era, speaking of Islam? And this is something, whenever I encounter some problem on Islam, I always, when I have a question about, for example, about certain issue in Islam, what Islam says about such and such and such. Sometimes I go to Google and then click. And then, this is very interesting. The most often website that show up in my search for certain issues is certain portal or website that was provided by a certain group, the Salafi people, basically, normally. They are very active on digital space, and they provide all kind of information on Islam. So whenever you click on certain question and what is Islamic answer to it, then you will find some answer originating from certain Salafi authority, because they are very active digitally. They are very active online. So meaning Salafi people have, empirically, factually, de facto, the Islamic authority today online are the Salafis, because they are more active online. There is many websites, but not that many. Not many numerous. There's a certain portal online that provide certain Islamic answer on all questions, Then, I mean, if you are not educated in Islam systematically, I mean, you go to pesantren, to madrasah, to Islamic university, studying Islam systematically from introduction until the advanced level, then you might have an impression that Salafi people are the most authoritative authority on Islam. Because why? Because they provide all answer on Islam. And what is surprising me is that they provide all answers in all languages, particularly in European languages, in English, in French, in Spain, in German. Of course, in Arabic, that's the basic. So, you know, this is, but, you know, if you look at the real life or the factual history or the real life of the Muslim in their daily life, of course, there are many authorities, not only Salafis, but only Salafi are predominant online. So this is, I mean, this is creating some crisis in the religious authority. I mean, people with powerful digital access can have more voice in speaking about Islam. So what matters today in digital era is not really the authority, but how much do you have access to the digital space? And this is for me problem, because this is not, we conduct knowledge in our history. Knowledge is not defined by how much access you have to certain sources. You know? Knowledge is based on arduous, long, and laborious works. You know, you have to go to seminary, to madrasah, to pesantren, and spending many years to study knowledge. But see, I mean, in digital era, everybody can speak about Islam. And for me, this is serious, and it's challenged us to face this new situation created by the digital era. So this is what I can share with you, my thought about what is the crisis facing us today. I'm not talking yet about what is our answer to it. I'm just discussing about, I'm just provoking, quote unquote, you all to think about this multifaceted crisis that we are facing in modern era. And this is serious. And lastly, I want to say a few words here. One of the problems facing us today is that we are suffering from the scarcity, kelangkaan, ya, from the scarcity in intellectual, in our intellectual tradition, meaning Muslim today emphasize certain tradition, select certain tradition that we inherit from our past, excluding others. For example, you know very well that fiqh or legal discourse is so predominant among Muslims today. And this discourse of legal tradition, the fiqh, you know, we practice the Shafi'i fiqh in Southeast Asia. This preponderance of fiqh tradition among Muslims today, I think, is the reason why we lack certain capacity to deal with the new with this crisis. Because this new crisis, this multifaceted crisis that we are facing today, cannot be addressed solely or you know, only relying on fiqh tradition. We have to employ different approaches to address this new situation. And one of the legacy that we should revive again, resurrect again in modern era is the philosophical tradition philosophical and theological tradition, which is very rich in our intellectual history. So philosophical and theological tradition, this is something that we are lacking in today, because all Islamic subject that was taught in our seminaries, in our Islamic institution, are dominated by this legal and fiqh tradition. And also how Muslims think generally are mostly defined by this fiqh tradition. That's why the halal and haram mindset are so predominant among the Muslims. I mean, the obsession with halal and haram was so predominant. Of course, halal and haram is very important in our life because we are Muslim, are concerned about the status of everything we eat, we drink, and we do. Halal and haram is very important, but that's not enough. It's not sufficient. There are a lot of other things that we should think differently. For example, the problem of the crisis that that I just discussed a little while ago. This crisis cannot be answered, cannot be solved by a single reliance on fiqh tradition. You have to have another intellectual tool to answer it. And I think we have a tradition that can help us with this situation, and that is the philosophy and theology. This is in my background. I have a full, volume of Ibn Sina's work, Ash-Shifa, and Mullah Sadra's work, Al-Hikmah Al-Muta'aliyah. This is a very important work on philosophy by Muslim philosophers. This tradition is absent today. I think that this is the tradition that we should resurrect, we should revive, menghidupkan kembali, we should revive again and bring it again to our seminaries, to our institution. Because, if Muslim students today study philosophy, they mostly study Western philosophy. And this is, for me, is a problem. Of course, I love Western philosophy. I love reading, French philosophy, German philosophy, British philosophy, American philosophy. You don't have Dutch philosophy because Dutch is not good at philosophy. But I love Western philosophy. But we have also our own philosophy. But we don't study it. We don't study it. And I think this is a problem. This new crisis cannot be dealt with without employing, without exploiting various intellectual legacies that we inherit from our predecessors, from Al-Razi, from Al-Ghazali, from Ibn Sina, Al-Farabi, Al-Kindi, Al-Shafi'i, and others. Why should we study only fiqh? Why should we study only hadith and tafsir and ignore other rich tradition in our history? Why? And I think this is a mistake, a big mistake that we committed today, that we exclude philosophy and theology in our modern syllabus, in our madrasa, in our Islamic institution. So, and then that's lead to a very sorry situation where a young Muslim student, when they are interested in philosophy and theology, the only thing they read is Western philosophy. And this is something I'm sad about. I'm sad about. Thank you very much. And I wish a successful symposium and seminar in the coming days. Selamat and congratulations to organizers and friends in Dutch, in Netherlands and other European countries. And congratulations to Nahdlatul Ulama in Netherlands and other part of the Europe. Good luck with your symposium and seminar. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Emil, for your really insightful keynote speech, and it triggers some questions. There are one note from Netherlands Indonesia Consortium for Muslim-Christian Relations, Mrs. Corey. She said that comparable with Protestants, not one authority and louder Protestants are more active on internet than the ones who have more balanced ideas. And we have 2 questions. Oh no, it's 3 questions. First question is, it's a bit long, Mr. Ulil. I would agree that colonialization has brought about significant changes in Muslim world. One of which is, of course, the introduction of the concept of modernity. Many have assumed that this modernity leads to secularization or religious desacralization. However, it seems that it does not simply work that way. What can we see now is that modernity gives rise to the proliferation of multiple modernities, as numerous anthropologists argue. This change has generated an increasing demand for the re-advancement of religious and traditional institutions in a range of sectors. Crisis of modernity, religious identity, including religious piety, has been significant to understand the current situation in Muslim life. Instead of being secularized, it seems that Muslims now are becoming more Islamic. This happens to the field of Islamic law as well, in a way that Islam-based ideas are becoming more important. Could you give your ideas on this issue? That is the first question, Mr. Ulil. Would you like to answer first, or I should just raise the second question, Mr. Ulil? I'm sorry, you're unmuted. You're muted. Yes.
Yeah. You can gather all questions. Okay. You can put it.
Okay. Yes.
I can respond.
Sure. Okay. The second question, in the context of Indonesia's reformasi, who was Napoleon? What kind of nation-state ideas that brought multidimensional crisis, corruption, radicalism, deforestation, oligarchic democracy, and so on? And which legal system can we consider as a repeating history in Indonesian Islamic world and beyond? That's the second question. And the third question is, the global crisis has been around for almost 2 years. The world is debating about economic, finance, and so on. But the Muslim community in Indonesia is still discussing about praying without meeting ranks, the law for praying wearing mask, prohibiting mosque, how to solve community problem in understanding Indonesian society.
Okay, I will start with the last question about Muslim today being busy with, let's say, trivial issues. Yeah. With trivial issues, the problem of furu'iyah as we call it, yeah, the furu'iyah, the minutiae of religious issues, yeah, the furu'iyah. And this is something we are very sorry about, yeah, that Muslims are not done yet. They are not finished yet with the furu'iyah. While the problem lies somewhere else, it's not in furu'iyah. And I think this is one of the manifestation, one of the symptoms in the religious authority, in the crisis of the religious authority. The symptom of this crisis is that Muslims are so obsessed and so concerned with the furu'iyah, ignoring the more basic problem facing us globally, first of all, as human being, as humanity, and secondly, as a Muslim. And this crisis is the manifestation of the the crisis of religious authority and also the crisis of knowledge. Because in knowledge, if you study Al-Ghazali, for example, in Ihya Ulumuddin, the first volume of Ihya, the first chapter in the first volume of Ihya Ulumuddin is discussing the subject on knowledge. And one of the issue that Al-Ghazali was dealing with was the issue of the hierarchy of knowledge. Knowledge has hierarchy. What is the first knowledge that Muslims should study first, and then and second and third and so forth? So there is a priority. But this priority, this hierarchy was broken up by this crisis. That's why Muslims are so confused today. They are concerned with furu'iyah. But the more serious problem facing us as humanity, like the problem facing us living in digital era, for example. I mean, few people think about it. Or if they think about it, they think about it not really from Islamic point of view, but from different point of view. We need a response, a real response based on our tradition. But the problem is that our tradition is broken up today by this multi-crisis. Let's say, as I mentioned before, that our knowledge tradition today is so one-sided. It's so one-sided. I mean, only one side of intellectual tradition predominate us in Muslim educational system or educational institution. Only one single intellectual tradition predominate, while in reality, there are a lot of rich tradition in Islamic intellectual history. So that's why I respond to the question like a little while ago about Muslim being busy and concerned with trivialities. I think that's a symptom, only a symptom. The symptom of this religious crisis in religious authority and also a crisis in our knowledge tradition. The second question is about modernity and secularization. Yeah. And this is also a challenge that we are facing globally as a Muslim. And I think the problem of secularization is not only the problem of the Muslim, but also for all people of faith, Christian, Catholic, and others. This is not only our problem only. This is a problem of people of faith. Yeah. I mean, if you look at Catholicism and Christianity and others, they talk about similar challenge, the secularization. And what is the idea behind secularization? If you study European history, and this is very interesting. If you look at the history of secularization in the Western countries, basically you can squeeze, because this is a long history. Basically, this is the history that started from 17th century till today. It started with the Enlightenment in France in 18th century, and it's went on until today. And if you squeeze this long history of secularization in Europe that spread globally everywhere, including in Indonesia, you will see a single, theme, and that is what I call. This is my own word. Yeah. That is what I call post-metaphysicality. Post-metaphysic. Post-metaphysic. What is post-metaphysic? Post-metaphysic is that this is the current condition. This is the current situation we are living today. The post-metaphysic. Post-metaphysic is a situation where people think in a certain way that God hypothesis is not relevant in our life. This is what some the so-called new atheists call it. The God hypothesis is not relevant today. As if God is not so important in our life. And I think this is the current situation. The post-metaphysicality. I mean, characterized by the loss of vision about God. God is no longer relevant in our life. Yeah. Of course, this enlightenment, this modernity that is based on post-metaphysical tradition, provoke a reaction from other people outside the West. And the reaction was to bring God again in public life. And this is like the clash between two traditions today. One tradition, one system, or one type of thinking that God is not relevant any longer in our life. The other groups think that God is very relevant. God should be brought everywhere in any issues. And this is the problem of fundamentalism today. And this is, the challenge that we are facing today is the reaction to modernity starting, I think from 80s until today. The reaction to the post-metaphysical way of thinking in the many parts of the world, including in Islamic countries, including in Indonesia as well. Yeah. The idea that God should be, we should bring God everywhere. Whenever you discuss about anything, God should be there, should be there. And I think this is not an ideal situation, yeah, because Islamic civilization has a different way of thinking. Yeah. Okay, we can move to another question. And I think, what is it? Is it still, the time is still available for the discussion?
Yes, about 5 minutes. Is that really?
Okay, that's my response. I'm not responding to all questions because there are many questions here, but I'm just responding to some of it. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Ulil. Quite interesting, especially about the post-metaphysics. But due to our limited allotted time, we need to proceed to the next session. Next session is meet and greet. And I will give the opportunity to Mrs. Yus Sadia to lead the meet and greet, and also for the first and second panel presentation. But beforehand, allow me to remind all the presenters to enter their panel room by clicking the join breakout room and choose your panel. And for the audiences, you may choose any panel that you would like to attend. And after you finish the panel presentation, you can click leaving the breakout room. I may also remind you the first panel presentations after meet and greet consists of 3 panels. First is Hurgronya and Islam in Indonesia. Second is religion in socio-ecological and economic crisis. Third is religion in politics and law. So Mrs. Yus Sadia, time is yours.
Thank you, Ayu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I greet you all peace. Right. Before I start, to proceed, we would like to confess something, because news has reached us that some of you have lost of your loved one. So we offer our deepest condolences, and despite this condition, you are still present here. And also some of you are still recovering from COVID, and also some of you are taking care of your sick family. So with this, at the hindsight, our theme this year with reimagining religion in time of crisis is pretty much alive in our daily life, basically, because the pandemic is still raging in Indonesia. So how do we start this? We have 30 presenters that will occupy the 6th panel we will have. The first session, we have only 3 panels, and we will have a break and then continue the next, the second session. The perk normally for being in a conference, an on-site conference, is that you can have a networking and getting to know the other presenter better. However, now with online, it's very much less. So hopefully, inshallah, next year we will have the on-site conference with the same theme. We are aiming the end of May, beginning of June, so my fellow Indonesian can enjoy tulip season. So that is the whole idea. Inshallah, we will have that. So I will introduce you to each of the presenter, beginning of Snoekhur Groningen in Islam in Indonesia, between the legacy and controversy. I would like to introduce the first presenter is Nuri Kurnaz. He's a Dutch with a Turkish background. He's now obtaining PhD candidate at the University of Leiden. And I realized that he's a global history savvy. So he's graduated from University of Amsterdam in history. Do I have Nuri? Can you just wave, Nuri? And the second one is Rukaya Reichling. She has a background in modern languages, Islamic studies, and cultural anthropology from University of Brussels and Catholic University of Leuven. And she's another history savvy. She's a teacher holding a diploma for the history teacher. She's currently working at the University of Amsterdam at the early stage research on the mediating Islam in the digital age. Her research focuses on how new media were being used in the late Dutch colonial period to portray Mecca. So this is very much tied to Snoekhur Groningen's stay in Mecca. The last one, I'm not sure if he's here because he's held back, Muhammad Asad and his colleague. The third presenter is Muhammad Asad and his colleague. He's holding a he's a lecturer at the Hasim Ashari University in Jombang, East Java. Together with his colleague, he's now researching about the critics from Hasim Ashari, how we call it, the founder of Nahdlatul Ulama, basically, on the policy that the Dutch colonial time in the year 30 were propagated. And hopefully he'll be joining us later. And then the second panel will be religion in socio-ecological and economic crisis. This is very at the heart of the pandemic nowadays. The first one is Imam Permadi. Is a graduate student at the JRCS University of Gadjah Mada. He is at the central, he's so a board of the Green Cadre of Muhammadiyah. His research interest is religion and socio-ecological movement and democracy. And together with his colleague, and now they're presenting one a paper with David Effendi. He earned his master degree in political science at the University of Hawaii in Manoa in US. And his research interests are in local politics, political ecology, civil society, social movement, and democracy. He's a researcher and also lecturer at the Department of Governmental Science at Yogyakarta Muhammadiyah University. Our next presenter, we don't have the next presenter is Hudriansyah. Is he around? Hudrians? Yes, exactly. Thank you. Is a lecturer at the Faculty of Usuluddin Adab and Dawah in University of Sultan Haji Muhammad Idris Samarinda. So we have someone from Kalimantan. He is very much engaged in policy research and advocacy in on environmental issues. Well, you are at the heart of the, the center in Kalimantan, of course. You own the half of world lungs with the forest there. And I would like to introduce Prayogi Saputra. Hopefully he's around. We haven't really... Prayogi Saputra is our next. It's from University of Raden, Islamic University of Raden Rahmat in Malang, East Java. Oh, unfortunately, he's unable to relocate. Locate. And the next presenter is Tohir Luth. He's writing the paper together with Ranitya Ganinda, Siti Rahma, Azalia Umar. All of them are from Law University of Brawijaya in Malang, East Java. Next is Ibnu Fikri, our former chairman of PJNU Belanda. He holds PhD in social and cultural anthropology from Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam. He is now a staff member of Faculty of Dawah and Communication at the State Islamic University in Wali Songo, Semarang. His interests academically includes environmental anthropology, cultural anthropology, Islamic studies, manuscript studies, and Islamic history. So should you have all the interest, you can reach him. We have a 7 speaker as well. He is our MC for today. I use Swaningrum. She's a PhD candidate at the University of Leiden. And last but not least, Ahmad Answari, our current chairman of PJNU Belanda. He's now a candidate, PhD candidate at the Radboud University. The next one is religion in politics and law. I would like to introduce the first speaker, Ima Sri Rahmani. Ima was here earlier. She's a PhD student in religious studies at Research Institute of Religion, Spirituality, Culture and Society at the Catholic University in Leuven in Belgium. She's also a lecturer at the Faculty of Psychology at the State University in Jakarta. She's a very prolific journal writer. Recently, she published Counter Islamophobia, an analysis on the discourse of Belgium's non-government organization in the media, the works in Muslim minorities, and the refugee crisis in Europe. So this is very hot topic now in Europe. Our second presenter this panel is Ahmad Karim. He is a PhD candidate at the University of Amsterdam, and he is also our Ansor, a Banser. The next one is Panji Mulkillah. He obtained a Master of Law in University of Gadjah Mada. Next one is Muhammad Latif Fauzi, a lecturer at the, well, he is one of the official, basically. I haven't really updated to that yet. He recently completed his PhD thesis at the Leiden University, so he'll be with us. And the next one is Rubaidi, a true mid-Javanese, I would say, born and bred in Central Java, a lecturer at the Faculty of Tarbiyah and Islamic Pedagogy at Islamic University of Sunan Ampel in Surabaya, East Java. He's also the coordinator of the postgraduate at the same university, and he's also very prolific writers in several books on Islamic themes. My last presenter for this part is Dimas Jansen. I've yet to receive his CV, but he's a student at the Leiden University. Next one, they will be in the second session, just for your information. But I'll just going to read all of the presenter now. Reharmonizing religion in science, progress, and innovation. And I'm very pleased that we have two women speakers in science. I like women in this department. So we have Windy Al-Zahra together with Eko and Farizal Al-Fandi. She'll have one paper together presenting it in this panel. Windy herself is a PhD candidate at Wageningen University. So she's also very active within PJI NU Belanda. The second one is Mukarrama Sulaiman Kurdi. She's a lecturer at State University, Islamic State University of Antasari in Banjarmasin, another Kalimantan. She works very active within the Gender and Child Studies Center. She's now a PhD candidate at the University of Groningen in the Netherlands. Last but not least, Anwar Masduki Azam, PhD candidates, also theology and religious studies research at the same as Mukarrama at Groningen University. And this is very, he put up here his thesis, an inquiry of religious tourism and pilgrimage in contemporary Indonesia expected. Well, in Indonesia, and it's supposed to be well expected to finish this year or beginning of next year. Religion, gender, and women's rights. We have a four speaker in this panel. Nur Isma, our also active member of PJI NU Belanda. She's a fellow researcher of women living under Muslim law. The Concordia University, Montreal, Canada. She's a senior research associate at the Institute of Southeast Asian Islam. She is affiliated with the Sunan Kalijaga State University in Yogyakarta, Indonesia. And she's also a very busy lady, a PhD candidate in Islamic Gender and Southeast Asian Study at Leiden University. And the next one is Zaimatus Sadia. She's a PhD candidate at the Radboud University, also a lecturer at the Islamic University of Kudus in Central Java. And the next one is Fahrizal Afandi. He's a lecturer at the Brawijaya University at the Faculty of Law. Together with his colleague, he will show us one paper for today in Islamophobia and what was that? Well, you have to come to his panel. The last panel is about millennials, pop culture, and the future of religion. I must admit, I have to be honest here, we have lots of paper submitting for this panel. So this is the future of religion. Indonesia is demographically very young. So I'll be very happy to select some of the paper that was submitted. Unfortunately, we have to choose the best out of the best. The first one is Muhammad Isbatul Haq. He's now a student of Magister program of Islamic Study at State Islamic University of Sharif Hidayatullah in Jakarta. He's a living pesantren apparently. He's been in and out pesantren all of his life in Java, in Madura. And is a private Arabic tutor. And he's very concerned on Sufism and Quranic studies. So please reach him if you have any question on Sufism. Musharrafah Sulaiman Kurdi, a lecturer at the Education Faculty in State Islamic University in Banjarmasin, Tasari. She is also a writer, journal at Research and Scientific Publication Center. She's also a prolific writer at the Hasanah Journal, a journal on Islamic study and humanities. The next one is Halia Milati. I'm not sure she is around. I heard she was she's from State Islamic University Sunan Ampel, Surabaya. The next one is Gugun Akbar. He's from Garut University. We have one researcher from Germany. Well, she's residing in Germany, Freiburg University, Julia Ningsi, together with Burhan Ali. Last but not least, Dawam Rahmatullah. He's a PhD candidate at Utrecht University. I hope you have all the name here together. So this is all my time. Please pick the panel of your preference. In a minute, the breakout room will be open. So enjoy, and I'll see you at the panel.
Now, all of the presenters are expected to join their own panel by clicking the breakout rooms. You can see the sign, the button of the breakout rooms on your windows. If you have any difficulties, please contact our main host.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dito Pratama as your main host today. Actually, the breakout room for the first panel presentation, panel 1, 2, 3, has been open, and you as the participants are please feel free to join the breakout room or panel presentation that you are interested in, as you are available to move to another breakout room at your own convenience. So we have opened the breakout room, so you may join the breakout room session based on your own convenience, and you can directly tap your button and enter to the breakout room that you would like to join. We have 3 panel room. First, the panel room 1, it's Hukronyo and Islam in Indonesia. The panel room 2, it's religion in socio-ecological and economic crisis. And the last but not least, panel room 3, religion in politics and law. If you find it's difficult for you to join the breakout room, please contact me via chat box, so I may help you to assign you to breakout room number 2. Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to inform you once again that the breakout room has been open for all of you, so you can choose the breakout room that are open for you, and you are going to attend at the breakout room at your own convenience. If you find it difficult, please contact me or our co-host that we may help you to assign you into the breakout room that you are interested in. Thank you very much.
Is there still time here?
I think we...
Okay, we're back.
We're back in the mindset.
Okay, whatever we do, we must have we follow, as long as the output is making difference in good life of people. Just do that. So that's mean of tadabur. So in this, yeah.
Pak Karim, I think we now in the main
yes,
room.
Main room.
Okay.
The time is,
that's the main
I'm
idea
sorry
of
for
our
the
presentation. We can
have time to
Thank you.
And Mr. Karim, maybe we can listen his presentation in the iTouch
right.
Wednesday. Others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we are now in the main room. Then you have 10 minutes break. Yes, now we are going back to the main room, and now we are going to the second session of panel presentation. Again, choose your breakout room. Panel 4, Reharmonizing Religion in Science, Progress and Innovation. Panel 5, Religion, Gender and Women's Rights. Panel 6, Millennials, Pop Culture and the Future of Religion. Enjoy the fruitful discussion.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon from Jakarta. Good morning for the Netherlands people. I'm the main host for today's presentation of panel presentation 2. I would like to let you know that the breakout room have been open for you, all of you, and please feel free to join the breakout room panel presentation that you are interested in, as you are able to move to another breakout room at your own convenience. Just look at the box and the tab of your breakout, and then click it and choose what breakout room you would like to join. Actually, you can join the breakout room at your own service. You don't need me or ask your main host to join the breakout room, since you can join it by your own self. So just want to make sure and to let you know all that we have 3 panel discussion. For the panel 4, it is room Reharmonizing the Religion in Science, Progress and Innovation. For panel room 5, it is about religion, gender and women's rights. And panel room 6, it's millennials, pop culture and the future of religion. I'd like to let you know all again, since this is open breakout room session, you are able to join the breakout room by your own service. So you only need to click the breakout room tab and then click the sessions that you would like to join. And then you might be in the room that you are interested in. So if you find it still difficult for you, please contact me or our co-host to help you, and we will assign you to the breakout room that you are willing to join or interested in. Just chat us on the chat box. So we would like to help you to assign you to the breakout room that you are willing to join. Thank you. Again, thank you very much for attending this panel presentation too. I'm Dito Ale Pratama from Navik Neso Indonesia as your main host today. I'd like to tell you and let you know that this is the breakout room session for the panel presentation too. This is actually the open breakout room that you are freely to join the breakout room or panel presentation that you are interested in. And as you are able also to move to another breakout room at your own convenience. We have 3 available breakout rooms. That's panel room number 4, panel room number 5, and panel room number 6. Panel room number 4, Reharmonizing Religion in Science, Progress, and Innovation. Panel room 5, it is about religion, gender, and women's rights. And panel room 6, millennials, pop cultures, and the future of religion. If you still find it difficult for you to join or to be in the breakout room that you are interested in or you are willing to join, just contact me or chat, put or drop your text on the chat box so we may help you to assign you to the breakout room that you are willing to join it. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for joining us again in main room. I hope all of you had a fruitful discussion and be ready for the upcoming ICHAS conference. Before coming to a close of this event, I would like also to remind you again of the schedule of our events on the 3rd Biennial International Conference PTNU Belanda. You may submit your full paper in January 2022. Also, at the end of this event, we need you to contribute to our survey so that you may get a certificate. Now, I would like to invite Al-Mukarram Mr. Yahya Khalil Stakuf for the closing remark, contextualizing crisis in global Islam moderate movement. Mr. Yahya, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, syukurillah, salatu salam ala rasulillah, Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad ibn Abdullah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa wala. Amma ba'd, distinguished speakers and participants, Your Excellency Ambassador Pertahanan, our friends from the PCI NU Netherlands, thank you for this opportunity, and I congratulate you for this very important initiative that you take, and you've been consistently doing it for some years. I believe this is the 3rd biennial, and I regard this as a very important initiative in not just presenting Nahdlatul Ulama in the national stage, but also in trying to contribute to global discourse related to various problems that the global society is facing a crisis is perceived to be happening when the current perceived established order is shaking. That would be a way to put it in a more practical purpose. And now we are all feeling, sensing that a crisis is happening all over the world. And this crisis involves various different issues in very wide range. The way you put the theme and all the subtopics of your conference reflects that reality that we are facing a multidimensional crisis. So various different issues are kind of bouncing here and there, while each of them tends to create polarization among people, creates confusions and even anxiety. My perception about this conference itself is that it is mostly academic conference where you academicians, intellectuals can discuss the issues in an academic way, where you have the luxury of claiming sort of empty space to focus on each topic you want to talk about. But with decision makers in social and political arenas, the case is different. Decision makers have to make decisions while dealing with the perceptions of the public, of more ordinary people, not so scientifically enlightened like you are. So what Nahdlatul Ulama is now demanded to do is to decide the way to move forward from our current situation. Indeed, we agree that we all feel the crisis is happening, and it even becomes more concerning, with the latest dynamics. For example, with what happened in Afghanistan. So what Nahdlatul Ulama is currently trying to do is how we can contribute to help the world to understand the real nature of the crisis that we are all facing together, and what would be the path toward solution. Now, one among others, the issue is related to Islam as a religion and as a civilization with its own constituency, namely the Muslim world. I attended your second biennial last 2019, I think. And you may recall that in that occasion, I articulated my sort of dissatisfaction about the concept of moderate Islam or moderation of religion. The reason is because I think that concept does not help the world to understand the real nature of the problem. That's one reason. Another reason is that that concept of moderate Islam implicitly put Islam as the suspect of all this global disaster. It's like all this crisis that is happening is for Islam to blame. It's because Islam needs to be moderated. Because if Islam is not moderated, then Islam is going to be a bad actor in the global dynamics. Without mentioning the share of blame of others. So I see it, and this is the this is the perspective of Nahdlatul Ulama. It's already officially adopted. First, we need to identify what is the main theme of this global crisis. We have this crisis related to political dynamics related to Islam. You have this crisis related to the relations between religion and science and so forth. But what is the main theme of all this crisis? Now, what we are seeing today, like I said, is in one hand, a more globalized society everywhere, where people are connected each other, regardless, and regardless the geographical positions, or social positions, and both, whether it is physical or social and political, are less and less relevant. We are seeing a phenomena where the whole global society is moving toward a one single interfused civilization, because everybody is connected to each other. Now, but on the other hand, we have all kinds of issues that tend to polarize people. And each issue then, some set of issues for some political interest and reasons, then are boxed into a structure of political identity. And we are seeing that this trend is becoming more and more threatening to the harmonious life of all society everywhere. When, for example, we see that relationship between various different religious groups is now becoming more and more conflictual. The trend is that it's becoming more and more conflictual. It's happening in Indonesia, it's happening in India, it's happening in the Middle East, and everywhere in the world. Now, and also on the other hand, even in the secular societies like in Europe and United States, you have political issues are up to be a contest of identities in a more, in a more tribal nature. To me, it is a, it is a big surprise that in the United States, for example, the last general election, presidential elections, was so hostile in nature. We have riots, we have various tribal conflicts between the two poles of a politically polarized society. It's like seeing American election in the same manner of Indian election. And I would say our situation in Indonesia was much better than what they had in America in their last presidential election. So this is a very, very concerning problem that we are facing. Now, in this confusing different issues contesting each other in public stage, we need to understand, we need to identify first what is the main factor that related most to our interest of having peaceful and harmonious coexistence among human beings. Because peace and harmony is the only way we can guarantee our continuous existence. With all the development that we have now in demography, where now we realize that society everywhere has become more and more heterogeneous. People of different groups have to live next to each other in the same neighborhood. And also with the development of technology, including the military technology, conflict, if we allow to grow bigger and uncontrolled manner, will eventually bring us toward a global disaster and the breakdown of the whole human civilization. In the past, when we are talking about conflicts between different groups of identities, such as different religions, for example, conflicts between Islam and Christianity, or Muslims between Christians, like what happened in more than 600 years of Ottoman Turks military campaign against Christian European kingdoms. For example, the conflicts happened. The conflicts happened in a limited area of borders where the military forces of both sides met each other. And those who joined the conflicts were the military troopers. Well, now, if we allow conflict between a conflict between Muslims and Christians, or between Islam and Christianity, there's no structure, no military structure or political structure to manage the conflict. What will happen is riots, social unrest everywhere, because people in the same neighborhood would have to fight each other. And the eventual result will be the breakdown of the whole social order. And then, with all this, this advanced development in military technology, you can make a huge, giant destruction with only one button. In the past, when the Ottoman Turks fought the Europeans, what they have was limited technology with limited capacity of destruction. But now, when you have not just European countries, United States, and maybe Israel having the nuclear weapon, but also Pakistan having nuclear weapon, and God knows, whether Iran or Saudi Arabia would succeed with all financial and intellectual resources that they have to get also nuclear weapon for their own. And this more and more unordered international dynamics. So again, what we need now is to identify what would be the main theme of this crisis. Because this is very, very important, especially for decision makers in the political and social arenas, and for the public of ordinary people, for them to understand what problem are they facing now. What Nahdlatul Ulama is offering is that the main theme of this global crisis actually is a phenomena of a changing civilization. We are living in a changing civilization, a changing order. Before the World War I, what we had was a global society, international society, structured in various empires and kingdoms. Ottoman Turks was a kingdom, and also the Netherlands, and the Britain, the Germany, and so forth, or Prussia at the time. Now, and the more and more connected relationship, interaction between various different kingdoms with various different identities had led the world into a huge tragedy of the war, which is the World War I, with huge casualties. And that big war did not resolve the whole problem, because then it was proven that there was another big war coming, which is the World War II. Now, after the World War II, the world came to a shared perception or conclusion of the need for a new order, so that we can have a more stable global dynamics. We have more, so that we can have more stability and more security in global dynamics. So that's how the UN Charter then was adopted by various countries at the time in June 1945, and then the United Nations Organization was established in October that year. That was the beginning of a global effort to develop a new order, an order that, like I said, would guarantee a more stable and secure global dynamics. Of course, the purpose of the efforts of the endeavor cannot be achieved instantly. The world has to go through more than 70 years of very difficult times in achieving the goal before it achieves the goal. And now it becomes more and more feasible that this new order is still very, very fragile. While in the original idea of this new world order, nation states are obliged to respect the sovereign borders of other nations. From time to time, we experienced how various actors actually acted, without respect to that agreement, even until now. You have, for example, the context of Cold War between United States and the Soviet Union, while the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, and the United States invaded Vietnam, and so forth. And then more recently, we have the experience of how first Iraq under Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, and then the United States invaded Iraq. And most recently, we have Russia invaded Crimea, which belongs to originally belongs to Ukraine, and Azerbaijan invaded Nagorno-Karabakh, which belongs to Armenia, and so forth. Now, but still, this is, this is the most important thing that the world needs. The world needs an order where we can have a more stable and secure global dynamics, and that can only happen if we have a platform where people of different identities, different ideas, different ideologies, and so forth, can live, can coexist coexist each other in a peaceful and harmonious way. So, just last month, I was invited to attend a conference in Washington, D.C. It was a conference on religious freedom. It's called the IRF conference, the National Religious Freedom Conference. And I addressed precisely this matter. On behalf of Nahdlatul Ulama, I proposed a framework of how we can move forward in our endeavor to find a way to have a more stable and secure international dynamics, which we see as a way to perfect the new order that was initiated as an endeavor since the post-World War II. What I proposed in that conference is that first, we need to see all this struggle that the global society is having today as a struggle of contesting values, where people of different background of identity with its own set of values have to compete each other in shaping the globe, the nature of our future global society. Religions are the potential competition between religions is one of the most concerning reality that we have now, because it's still happening until now. It's still happening even in Indonesia. It's happening in India. It's happening in Myanmar. It's happening in Africa. It's happening most certainly in the Middle East, and even it's happening in the West, in Europe and United States. But we have also concern about the competition between the traditional, the adherents, the proponents of traditional values against the proponents of more secular values. We have, I think, our friends in Netherlands and Europe can sense how a fierce struggle is happening related to this. You have the struggle of competition, for example, around the values of family and marriage. You have various competing and big debates, around the issue of nationality, for example, or nationalism. These are a huge issue of our current situation now. So we have to find a solution for all of them. Now, what we propose, what Nahdlatul Ulama is proposing, is to see this whole struggle as a struggle to choose between the previous order of pre-World War I and the new order of post-World War II. You can study, how we put these differences in the documents published by Nahdlatul Ulama, for example, in the documents of result of our 2019 National Conference of Ulamas in Banjar in 2019. So, the thing is that the founding fathers of Nahdlatul Ulama have chosen to join the endeavor of developing a new order together with all the stakeholders of global civilization from other, from other groups or cultures. This is our joint endeavor. It's not just for Islam, but also for all the global community. You can see, because of this, I refuse to see, I refuse to take blame, as Muslims, to take an exclusive blame as Muslim for all this global problem. So Nahdlatul Ulama has chosen that we are joining this global endeavor to develop a new order which would guarantee a more stability and security for global society, and not to go back to the previous order of pre-World War I, which was the orders of empires with religious identity for each. So that's why we reject the idea of developing a caliphate, because caliphate is a part of the previous order. We want a new order. Now, then what we offer is first for the whole world, because we cannot presumably banish any group that exists today. The world cannot banish Muslims from the face of the earth. You cannot banish 1.3 billion Muslims because you see them different from others. For example, you cannot banish, almost 1 billion Hindus in India. You cannot banish the Buddhists and so forth. You cannot banish 1.5 billion of Chinese. So what we need now is a platform of dialogue and a framework of negotiation to achieve a global consensus about what kind of order that we need to enable us coexist peacefully with each other. Now, what we offer is first, we need to identify what values we do actually share each other. The universal values that the whole world can do already share each other. I can mention, for example, the values of honesty, the values of human dignity, the values of freedom, human freedom, the value of compassion, and justice. Those are values that the world do share each other. And then let us identify what kind of values that the world need in order to have a peaceful and harmonious coexistence among different groups of people. And if necessary, we need to be open-minded and be willing to change elements within our own traditional, our own set of traditional values that would prevent us from having a peaceful coexistence. That's what Nahdlatul Ulama did in our 2019 conference of Ulama, when we concluded a new fatwa ruling to state that the category of infidel, the category of non-Muslim, is no longer relevant legally in the context of modern nation states. Because in the past, it was the authoritative traditional value and norm in Muslim society. That's why we have all this concept of, Zimmi and Harbi and Mu'ahad and Mu'ahad and so forth because of that. But now, in the context of modern nation state, we don't need, we cannot have this traditional norm and value to be operated any longer because all citizens has to be, every citizen has to be equal before the law. And this is the only way. You cannot claim, for example, in Indonesia, you cannot claim that because Muslims are majority in Indonesia, then Muslims have the special right to dominate the whole legal space in the system and in the nation state system of Indonesia. You cannot, because there are Muslims live as minorities everywhere else, like in Europe, the United States. So Muslims in Indonesia have to treat others with just, so that they have the moral ground to demand the treatment of justice for their fellow Muslims who live as minority everywhere else. If not, then it can be easily brought into an uncontrolled and unstructured universal conflict between Muslim and non-Muslim everywhere in the world. This is an example of how we should be willing to change in order to have a more harmonious and peaceful coexistence with others. Now, for the rest of the values that we do not share, or values that we actually do not need to live, to coexist peacefully, then let's just tolerate each other. Let's just tolerate. You go to Christian believe Jesus is God, then let them be. Let them do. We believe Isa al-Masih is a prophet, then we believe, we keep believing it. We do not have to force Christians to change their belief, and they do not have rights. The Christians do not have right to force Muslim, to change our belief. And that goes also in the relationship between the proponents of secular, of secular values and the proponents of the more traditional values. Values that the secular people believe cannot be forced to be adopted by the proponents of the traditional values. Let's just tolerate each other in our differences. This can be a framework in bringing forward, our global civilization endeavor to have a more stable and secure future for all humanity. So my hope is that the initiative that has been taken by the PCI-NU Netherlands will contribute significantly to this effort and endeavor. And if you ask about what would be the articulation of Nahdlatul Ulama in international stage, this is what we need to offer. This idea of calling to people of goodwill from every nation and faith to join a global alliance to seek for the emergence, to foster the emergence of a truly just and harmonious international order based upon respect on the equal rights and dignity of every human beings. So again, congratulations and thank you to the PCI-NU Netherlands for having this initiative. Thank you for the thank you to Ambassador Mayersa for the support, and also ICAS, I think, which work in cooperation with the PCI-NU Netherlands to have this event. It's a very important event, and I would say I am. I take this as a personal commitment for me to join you with your vision that this biennial conference, can be more and more important and significant in its contribution in the future. Wallahu yafiquna fi ma yuhibbu wa yardah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Yahya Khalil-Stakuf, for the insightful closing remarks. And ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our event. I would like to convey my utmost gratitude for your participation and for your support. Thank you once again for speakers, presenters, audiences, committees, our partners, Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia to the Kingdom of the Netherlands and staff, Nafik Neso Netherlands Alumni Network, International Institute for Asian Studies, Netherlands Indonesia Consortium for Muslim Christian Relation, PCI-NU Mesir, PCI-NU Jepang, PCI-NU Dunia. Keep an eye on the update of the on-site PCI-NU Belanda conference for next year on our website nubelanda.nl. Kindly follow our social media platform PCI-NU Belanda and NL Alumni Network Indonesia to keep you posted. To get the e-certificate, please also fill out the short survey. Your feedback means a lot to us to improve our future events. So, see you in 2022. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.